no surprise.
Okay, so I have to get her stuff off the screen. Before I actually open up my PowerPoint and introduce myself and start the presentation, we have a number of people across the country right now participating in this presentation. So the Smart Aleck posting the picture of what my shoe closet reportedly looks like.
It's more like mine.
Yeah, well, mine might look like that, but that's Eric Lucier from Vermont. We have Joy Davis from CSI participating tonight from Denver. We have Ray Gaines from Pennsylvania. We have Marina, I forgot her last name, from Eugene. We have Vivian Bowles from San Francisco. There's probably a couple more in there I'm forgetting right now. And the reason I want to show you this, we will bring up the live tweet feed of this presentation tonight periodically throughout the presentation. It's to kind of drive home the point that I'm going to drive home anyway of the reach that you have by getting involved online with social media. Each one of these people from all over the country are going to be responding to any comments that are tweeted out about my presentation tonight. They may be asking questions. They will be retweeting that information to other CSI members. Tomorrow I will do what's called Storify this presentation. I will take all the tweets from tonight from all over the country and put them in one story for people who couldn't be here or on the East Coast, who some of my friends are nice enough to stay up late on the East Coast, but most of them don't. They can read it tomorrow and read all the tweets and get the information from tonight's presentation. The reach is huge. And to have these people staying up late to participate tonight is, I think, amazing. They're all CSI members, and we all do this for each other, and we get information way further out than this room. So look, you just signal me when there's tweets that aren't inappropriate, because I'm just
That are not inappropriate. Are not inappropriate.
yeah,
Right.
some of these folks know me really well.
Do all sorts of things.
Do all sorts of things. So somewhere else.
Did you use the microphone? A little bit hard to hear, man.
I was afraid somebody was going to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. How does this thing work? I was trying to get away from that. Hello?
It's all right.
Okay.
It's It's harmless.
Okay, so my name is Cherise Schacter. I work at Interface Engineering. My Twitter handle, if you're tweeting tonight, is @Cherise Schacter. It's too long, please don't use it in your tweets, but if you're looking for me later, that's how you find me. My hashtag is CSI Kraken. Like Ellen said, it's a joke that started in a board meeting, and basically it's a movement that started in Portland of people who, it's kind of a go big or go home. We get things done, we don't debate things for days at a time, and we do it in a positive and collaborative manner. Because I started sharing some of the CSI Kraken activities online, on social media, we now have CSI Krakens across the country, and the movement continues to grow, which I think is amazing because it's a very positive thing, and chapters are growing and sharing all over because of it. Today's hashtag is PDXCSI, so please use that in any tweets if you tweet anything tonight.
What is the hashtag? Explain the hashtag.
We will get to the hashtag. It's like a TV channel, but we will get to that. Just if you tweet anything, type in the hashtag PDXCSI and I'll explain it in a minute. So, very important to understand, I am not a marketing professional. I don't understand terms like SEO and ROI and all of these other things they talk about. I'm not here to tell you from a marketing standpoint why you should get involved on social media. I've been in the business for 30 years. I started at a construction company. I spent 23 years in an architecture firm, and now I'm in an MEP engineering firm. I write specs. I do QC and QA. I don't do any marketing. The reason I'm here is because I'm passionate about this, and this is my personal perspective on why getting involved in social media and social networking online can benefit you as your personal brand. It can benefit your company. I know a couple of words, like I know personal brand, because I have one, CSI Kraken. and the reach that you can expand that you don't have right now. Right now, you can meet the people in this room. Online, your reach is limitless. I've been in CSI almost 3 years in December. I'm a little type A, so I've gotten busy pretty quickly. I am the president of the Portland chapter. I am chairing the Institute Certification Prep Committee, and I'm on the CSI Academy's planning team. Besides everything else Ellen signs me up for whenever I miss a meeting. I am very engaged on Twitter and LinkedIn. There's a whole lot of social networking sites out there. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about the ones I don't use. I use Facebook for my family and friends. I use Twitter to have conversations, and I use LinkedIn to connect with other professionals. I write a blog. It's called The Voices in My Head, for very good reason. We don't know what I'm going to write about, and we don't know when I'm going to write about it. But when something pops into my head and I'm passionate about it, I'll typically write something. I wrote one yesterday.
Hey, Cherise, do you use the free LinkedIn, or do you pay for the?
I use the free LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't pay for the service. And unless you're a big company doing a lot of things, I don't see any point doing it. I wrote a blog yesterday about my presentation at Spokane CSI last week, where at the end of the presentation, which was not about social media, by the way, it was about architect-engineer coordination. An architect raised his hand and said, "You know, you're pretty bold," which I thought was kind of amusing because I was just telling it like it is. And so that was my blog yesterday. People apparently really like that. And they call me the Kraken. The website where you can see all the CSI Kraken tweets, and that's at csikraken.com. I don't know who the broad is with her tongue out. And we have a Kraken committee in Portland. So because of social media networking, I have made incredible connections across the country. They're tweeting God knows what right now. I have gained education and experience more in the last couple of years. I've been on social media for about 18 months now. More in the last 18 months than I have in most of my career because of the people I've connected to and the information that they share. I have a wealth of trusted advisors across the country I can call when I have a problem at work. I'm dealing with this on a project. Have you encountered that before? Because of people I've met on social media, and many of them I've continued on to meet in person later at the CSI convention or other events. And I've received opportunities, and my career has gone more places in the last 18 months than it has in the last 30 years. I never spoke in public in my life until the convention last year, and I think I'm up to 19 speaking engagements this year, talking to different groups and different chapters, which kind of just blows me away because this is not my thing. The potential is incredible, but you can't realize that potential if you don't do anything with it. It's right in front of you, and it's simple, and everybody's afraid of it, me included. I will tell you that the first, you can tell Joy this too. My first exposure to any kind of social media was at the CSI Academies 2 years ago, where Joy Davis, who is the head of marketing for CSI, did a presentation on social media. When I walked into that class, I thought, I signed up to take a nap, to be perfectly honest, because there wasn't a class in that period that I was really interested in. And in my opinion, why in the world would anybody want to know that I was at Starbucks having a coffee? That was my opinion of social media. People tweeting out, pictures of their food, or I'm having a coffee here. I thought it was the most idiotic thing I'd ever seen. I really did. Well, anybody who's met Joy Davis knows that once she gets done with you, you're not going to think that by the time you're done. So I left that class and I went and signed up for an account. And I'm a little nuts since then. So what is social media networking? It is the practice of expanding your business and social contacts by making connections online, making connections with people who are not in this room. So I thought this was a good analogy that I found online. It's like starting at a new school. When you go to a new school, you don't know anybody. And as you start to attend things, like tonight, some people are attending PDX CSI, you start meeting people. And you eventually start kind of pulling those people down to the ones you have similar interests with. Twitter is just like that. You get online, you connect with a bunch of people, you start realizing I have something in common with this one, but I don't, and you follow and unfollow people till you kind of have a group that works for you and has something that you're interested in to share back and forth. The difference with Twitter is it's worldwide. You can connect to people that you would never, in any other possible stretch of the imagination, meet any other way. And you can, I thought it was kind of weird. How do you make friends online? But you actually can before you meet them. So what is the difference between social media and social networking? Social media is a way to transmit information. It's an avenue to transmit information, like a TV is an avenue to transmit information, or a radio is an avenue. Social networking is an act of engagement. It's an act of meeting somebody, getting to know them, and engaging in some kind of conversation or information exchange back and forth. Anybody can go post something on social media and just put it out there. And that's really all it is broadcasting something out there. I've got a car for sale. That is not social networking. That's not engaging with somebody. That's just putting information out there. The communication style. Social media, like I said, is a format that delivers like TV or radio, or a way to disseminate information. But communication is two-way with social networking. And the conversation is really the core of social networking. Having a conversation and sharing information. ROI, okay, I know what that means. I don't understand how it all works, but I know what it means. For social media, it's difficult to really quantify the return on investment for putting something out there, because you can't put a value on buzz or excitement. There's no way to count that to see if you're getting a return, or you're getting more customers, or you're getting more friends or connections. Whereas social networking is more obvious, because as I meet Chris Bennett on Twitter and get to know him, and he says, oh, Cherise, you should follow Colleen Cameron because she's really smart and she's funny too. And I think you guys would have something in common. You can count that. You can count the reach. You can count the additional connections you're making and the people you're connecting to. So it's much easier to see. I will tell you that last week, I got a call in our office. I was pretty excited about this. From an architect in San Francisco that I met on Twitter, and then later met in person at the convention. She called my firm wanting a fee proposal on a project they're doing down in San Francisco, and she needed some MEP engineering services for that project. Like I said, my job's not marketing. I don't go out looking for clients. I don't do that kind of work. But she knows me. She considers me a trusted advisor and a person she knows will give it to her straight. And so she called me all the way from San Francisco. We have an office down there, but she called me rather than call somebody locally, because she knew that I would tell her straight whether we should be doing that or not, connect her to the right people, and get it done. That's the second call in 2 weeks. I got at our office based on my online activity, when it's not my job to go find clients. Timely responses. Social media and social networking, less so. They both take time, and it takes some work. Social networking is direct communication, so that grows faster. This person refers you to this person, you should follow this person likes what you like, and it grows very quickly. Where social media, you're just putting information out there and just kind of waiting. You know, if you're Coca-Cola, you're good, you're golden. Everybody's gonna know who you are the second you put something out there. But if you're Cherise Schacter, I could have information out there on social media for years and never have it grow if I don't use social networking to help it grow. For instance, my blog. Whenever I write a new blog, I've now been invited to post my blogs on LinkedIn as well, so I post it there. And then I go post a tweet on Twitter to all my followers, hey, go look at my blog. And it drives people there. Social media, again, you put something out there, and it's not very well liked when you say, or not very accepted to say, oh, like my page. You know, you're kind of asking people to come like me, and friends, come like my page or tag it or whatever, because I want you to bring my numbers up. Whereas on social networking, you're sharing information. You're not asking people for things, you're sharing things, you're giving and you're taking. So it's much more dynamic, and it's much more accepted, and it's much more authentic. People don't feel like you're selling them something, they feel like you're giving them an exchange of valuable information. You're giving them something and they're giving something back. Oh, I don't know where it's going. There's some overlap between the two concepts, and it's important to understand the differences before you decide on a strategy. Social media is typically going to be used more for a big company. Big, huge company, US Gypsum. They want to get this information out. They're going to put a website. They're going to put information about all their products out there, and it's going to live there. And people will eventually find it through everything they do. From a personal level, especially for product reps, how many product reps are in the room? I knew that was going to happen. How many of you have Twitter accounts and use them regularly?
Oh, God. I did not see no hands go up.
You have no idea the client base you're missing. And my job is not sales, and I'll tell you right now that one of the smart aleck posting the picture of the shoes is a product rep in Vermont. These product reps are out there. Chris Bennett, I sent him a question on Twitter today from an architect in San Francisco who wants some answers on doing polished concrete on stairs. You become a trusted advisor to all of these people online who are looking for answers to the questions of people that you're selling to. And you are reaching way beyond the cold calls you're doing office to office here in town. And those people do become trusted advisors, and we do start sending questions. Those of us that are working in specifications or doing that, we send questions to those people to ask them. I know because I did it today with Chris. As an architect, put this question out there. I didn't know the answer, but I knew he would. That gets you more clients, and it gets you more business if you know how to engage. Don't go on there thinking you're just going to sell, because nobody's going to follow you. You have to engage and be a trusted advisor. Do you have a question?
Oh, you reached him on Twitter, not any other names?
I met Chris at a Portland CSI meeting.
No, I mean, like you said today,
Oh.
you reached out to Chris.
I reached out to him
Did
today
he go
on
through
Twitter.
LinkedIn? Why not? Why Twitter?
Well, you can, but I happen to be on Twitter. And I'm connected with him
It's
on
easy.
Twitter. And Twitter is 140 characters. It's quick. We're all busy. I like quick. I do discussion boards on LinkedIn and different things like that, and we'll talk about some of that, but Twitter is fast. You have 140 characters to say what you need to say. And I'm a little type A, so I don't really want to any more than that. So why should you start social networking? Number one, it's kind of free. It's free, but it will take time and effort. That's what it's going to cost you. You have lots of different choices. Today I'm talking about Twitter and LinkedIn. There are a lot of other ways to interact with people. Twitter and LinkedIn for business are the two best ones you have, in my opinion. Facebook, I know companies have Facebook pages. I'll tell you, I never look at companies' Facebook pages. And I think they're going by the wayside. I believe Facebook's for family and friends and games and that kind of stuff. Personal opinion, but I don't go, I go looking straight to LinkedIn or Twitter if I want company information. It's accessible and very mobile. In today's environment, you need to be mobile. You need to be able to interact with people no matter where you are. You have personal control over the information that's being put out in the world. If you have the account and you want people to look at you a certain way or see you as a certain kind of professional, you have control over that. Somebody else isn't doing it for you. The reach, we'll talk about reach in a minute, but the reach is amazing. I am still so completely and totally blown away at the number of friends that I've made and connections I've made all over this country. I mean, it really truly amazes me on a daily basis. Marketability. If you're looking to do some marketing, you can promote your website, you can promote your product, you can promote your blogs, whatever you want to promote. It's 140 characters, but don't forget you can put links into those 140 characters to take you right to your website or right to whatever it is you have to offer. There's lots of exposure, and in all honesty, it's pretty reliable. There are not a lot of problems with at least the 2 items the most. This is not the wave of the future, it is right now. In a presentation I went to recently at Construct about social media, I believe might have been Joy Davis, that said, if you are not fully engaged in social media in the next 5 years, you should probably retire. Because you're probably not going to have a job. And in all honesty, I was a little skeptical about that comment the first time I heard it. Not so much anymore. More and more. I mean, you can't watch a TV show without seeing hashtags. I mean, everything is going on. And so if you don't get involved, it's becoming the way people are communicating. You're not going to have a job in this business. In CSI, we tend to be a little bit older. Not me, I started 30 years ago, but I started right after I was born. So, but in all honesty, the people over 40 in this profession are the most resistant to it. I am 48. I started 2 years ago, and I am so thankful I did, because my career has blossomed again where I'm kind of stale and stagnant after 30 years. And there's a whole new world going on right now. You really are making a mistake if you don't get involved at some level. I'm not saying you have to be insane like me. Not at all. I don't know which way I'm going. So what is Twitter? It's a lot of people call it a miniature blog, a micro blog, which basically means you have to say everything you want to say in 140 characters. My first example here is from Corey Loman, who's the president of Emmerich Construction. He posted a picture of the progress on one of the projects they were just finishing. They were just wrapping up for Portland Public Schools. He just put out there to the Twitterverse, nice finished projects. Look, see what my company can do. Corey posts all the time. Now, if you only post what you're doing and you don't interact with other people and say things about what they're doing and share, people will just ignore you. So keep in mind, it has to be a two-way street. It's a social messaging site. I messaged Chris today. Vivian needs help with this polished concrete. Here is a place, this is a tweet that I did back in September, announcing that the Portland CDT scholarship information was available. And then you see at the end of this tweet, this is a link straight to the page on our CSI website that takes you right to that scholarship information. That's all in 140 characters. It tells you everything you need to know and then takes you right to where you need to go to apply. I love that. I can decide in 140 characters whether I want to go any further. It's a news reporting site. Okay, so a little bit of levity here. There was a story out a few weeks ago about a woman who got her goldfish some surgery. Her 10-year-old goldfish to save its life. I thought it was hilarious. It is a good example, though, of you will see what you choose to see on Twitter. People think, I don't want to see all this garbage, millions of people on Twitter. You see tweets from the people you choose to follow. If you don't want to see 80,000 12-year-old screaming girls tweets about Justin Bieber, I suggest you don't follow Justin Bieber. It's that simple. I follow architects, engineers, architectural magazines, general contractors, product reps, subcontractors. Almost exclusively everybody I follow on Twitter is in some realm of this business. And I follow some of the magazines and things like that because they post great articles that I can then share with the architects I follow who might be interested that may not see that. But I keep my world in AEC, and so I don't see a bunch of junk like somebody's goldfish getting surgery. But it's basically microblogging, social messaging, networking, information sharing, event coordination. It's a business tool, a news reporting service, and a marketing utility, all rolled into one in 140 characters. I don't know of anything else out there that can offer you that in such a simple and easy to use format. So once again, it's free, it's modern, shows your company is with it. Some of you product reps, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not blaming you, your companies, but the websites stink. Some of them seem like they were created 20 years ago. It's a way to show that you're engaged with what's going on in this world. In our office recently we threw out all of our catalogs. We have gone completely paperless. We don't do any of our markups on paper, and we don't accept any catalogs from product reps anymore. You have to bring it to us electronically. If you're not moving into that electronic age and you're behind the times, you're dating yourself and you're making yourself obsolete because you're going to go to somebody who can give it to them the way they need it. It's instant. You can, I mean, news comes out on Twitter almost before it's happening. You can very quickly get information out that you need. Your competition is likely already on Twitter. It's amazing how fast my internet at home that went down got fixed after I tweeted out how irritated I was that it was down. They don't like that information out there, and so things get done a lot more quickly than they used to. So if you're ever having a problem at home, tweet about it, use that company's hashtag, it gets fixed fast. The reach is amazing. Great way to network and meet new people. Once again, I get to meet all of you tonight, and that's great. If I participate in a tweet chat online, I might meet 500 of you in the same night, depending on what the topic is. They're tweet chatting right now. So afraid to look at that. It's a great way to get feedback from your customers, and it's also a great way to monitor negative feedback about your company. Or about you. Hopefully you never get that. But if somebody is saying something negative about your company that you work for, and you're following tweets about your company, you may know about it and may be able to go do something to save that customer, especially for you product reps, before it's too late, if you see that negative feedback right away, because a lot of people put negative feedback on Twitter when they're unhappy with the company. It'll help you keep up to date with what is going on in your industry and what's going on with your competition. Because they like to brag about it. If you're on Twitter, you may know about it a lot sooner than you would have otherwise. It allows you to engage with your clients and your customers, or in my case, a whole ton of CSI members across the country. And it's short and sweet. So this is from my user page. In the last 18 months, I have tweeted over 31,000 times. So I'm not advocating that for anybody. I'm a little crazy. I am following 1,986 people. Every single one of them is in the AEC industry, except for my son, who was a student at Oregon State. Otherwise, they're all in AEC. I have 1,658 followers across the country. I favorited over 4,000 tweets, and I follow 22 lists. Reach. This is, I think, my favorite part of this whole presentation is showing how far your tweets can go. So what reach is, it's a total number of estimated unique Twitter users using the same search term. So using an example for this presentation is hashtag CSI Kraken. 44,564 people were using that same search term on the particular time that I printed out this particular day's tweet reach. Your exposure is the total number of times your tweets about a particular search term were delivered to Twitter streams. So that would be how many times a tweet that's a CSI hashtag was delivered to different Twitter streams, different people's accounts. And then impressions is how many times tweets were delivered out there that may or may not be seen. They're out there and they might be seen, but they might not. So let's look at a couple of those. These are from my personal account on 3 different days. And this is called the Tweet Reach Report. It's a little tool to see how you're doing. On this particular day, I reached over 62,000 accounts. I probably tweet anywhere from 10 to 100 times a day, depending on what's going on. If I'm in some kind of Twitter chat or something like that, there would be more. Sometimes I only tweet 5 or 10 times a day. On another day, there was 32,000 accounts, 57,000 on another one. I was exposed to 86,000 accounts on this day. And then it shows your activity over a certain period of time, whether you're going up and down, tweeting more or less. That's a lot of reach for little old me who has a full-time job and a busy family. That's a lot of people that are getting exposed to whatever information I'm trying to share.
This is good marketing information right there. Is that available to you on Twitter?
Tweet Reach is on the internet. It's called tweetreach.com. It's a free tool. And you go to tweetreach.com and you type in your username and it'll ask your permission to connect to your Twitter account. You say yes and it'll give you this report. And you can do it every single day and it doesn't cost anything.
Could you describe again what that 62,800 number means?
On the
If
62,000,
I've got my phone, what does that mean?
That's, and you probably can't see it down there, but that says accounts reached. My tweets on that particular day reached over 62,000 accounts. So if everybody in this room had a Twitter account, my tweets that day landed in your stream.
So if I have a Twitter account, I can be getting 62,000 drops in my account.
No, it means I reached 62,000 separate accounts, my tweets that day. So if I tweeted 20 times, you might have gotten 20 for me. You're not gonna get 62,000 for me. It means I reached 62,000 separate people.
What I'm trying, I don't like the conversation. What I'm trying to figure out is where is the screen against the map that you did? Is the whole push our way?
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I'm asking where in Twitter, where is the screen against all these factors and all the crap seems to come to our desks with all kinds of stuff.
Don't follow the crap and you won't see it.
So if I'm only following 100 people, I'll only see 100 of those.
You're only gonna see the tweets from those 100 people. Yeah, that's the easiest way to explain it. If you go follow everybody and their brother, you're gonna see what everybody and their brother tweets.
So,
You know,
but 62,000, so let's say you tweet me, or, you know, when you're one of the 100, and then I retweet it to somebody else, and then they retweet it to somebody else, and that's how it gets to 62,000.
Right. And there's a difference between tweeting and tweeting you. There's a way to tweet you and there's a way just to tweet a general tweet.
Right, but, so I mean, you said you had 100 followers or whatever, so it goes to those 100, and then they send it out to
They
another
share.
100, and then those people send it out to another 100, and then eventually get to
Right.
62,000.
So on that particular day,
Right.
whatever amazing things I was tweeting that day, I don't even know, it reached 62,000 people eventually.
Is there an avenue on Twitter where you can do a search, see all the different kind of categories that you want? I don't want to follow this, I want to follow that, I don't want to follow this.
There's all different kinds of ways to slice and dice what you're looking for. I started out just by using the search term architects. I wanted to start with following architects because now that I'm at an MEP firm, that's who we work for. I mean, love other engineers, but they're not going to hire us. Even though that's not my job, what I'm doing is going to help get us, our company, exposure to that. So it is, marketing should be a part of all of our jobs.
As you progress in Twitter and start finding other interests or people that are interested in what you have to say, do you want to update your reach every once in a while, look for new people to follow? Or?
Yeah, I update mine all the time. I go through my followers and I weed some out, like people who are not very active or not active at all, I'll unfollow them. Because you have follow limits and I don't want to follow people who don't have something to share. I'm looking for people who want to engage. So the anatomy of a tweet, hashtags. Hashtag is really like a TV channel. You go on Twitter, we're going to look at some stats at the end of this. There's bazillions of people on Twitter. I want to see something very specific. Tonight, the hashtag is PDXCSI. So that live tweet stream I pulled up a little while ago, I searched for hashtag PDXCSI. What happened is only the tweets from tonight are showing up in front of me. So I can go through and just read the things from tonight. If you want to see some of the crazy stuff I tweet, go search for hashtag CSI Kraken. You'll see all kinds of things about the business. You'll see that my hairdryer broke yesterday and I was not a happy girl. And my battery was dead after work. Because part of my online brand is I have a little bit of a crazy sense of humor. So while I share all kinds of CSI things and work things, there's a little bit of crazy in there too. If I only want to see what's posted under CSI Kraken from all the other people who call themselves CSI Kraken around the country, I search for that hashtag. It's a way to narrow it down.
And people tweet anonymously. Good.
Well, I mean, that's
So
okay.
everybody's account.
Let me back that up. That's a lie. If you set up an account, I have 2 Twitter accounts, which nobody in this room knows about. I have the one you guys know about, and I have the other one nobody gets to know about. That's, my other Twitter account is the one that I follow craft beer and do personal things, and I don't want that too mixed up with the account I use professionally. My personal account does not have my name attached to it anywhere. So yes, I am anonymously tweeting under the other account. Now, I'm not too hard to figure out who I am if you were looking hard enough, because I'm not trying to be anonymous, but you can be anonymous. But if you set it up under your name, you can't push a button to say, make this anonymous. Your name will be attached to every tweet you put out there.
One question, if I could.
Sure.
What's the difference between you tweeting to me and you tweeting to this hashtag?
Well, there's a few different ways. Number one, I can just tweet to everybody. I can type, I'm going to keep this really simple. I'm going to Safeway tonight. And not put a hashtag in it, not put anybody else's name in it, and that will go out and it will go into the stream of everybody who follows me. So everybody in this room, if you all followed me, that would show up in your Twitter stream. Now, if I wanted to tell Ellen that I was going to Safeway tonight, I would start that tweet with her username, @OnstadE, I'm going to Safeway tonight. She will see that tweet, and anybody in this room that follows her and I, both will see that tweet. Nobody else will see that tweet. So if you only follow me, you wouldn't see it, and if you only follow her, you wouldn't see it, because I started it with her name. A hashtag is just a way to be able to trim down the information later to only see the tweets under that hashtag. So if you put that hashtag in, it's still going to go out to everybody. It'll go out to the feed of everybody who follows you. But you may tweet things under 10 different hashtags in one day, and I only want to see the things under PDX CSI. It's a way for me to search using the search features to only see the things under that hashtag. So it's just a way to tag your tweets so people can find it and search.
Who creates these hashtags?
Who does what? You
Who
do.
creates the hashtag?
You do. Yeah. So sometimes that's a problem because you don't get to own hashtags. So if you create a hashtag for a conversation and you don't research it a little bit first, like I would not recommend using hashtag BIM unless you're talking about BIM, because there's millions of tweets under hashtag BIM, people all over the world sharing information about building information modeling. So if you're meaning that BIM to stand for something else, you're going to get mixed up in all of that. So you try to look for something that's unique, but you don't own it, so things can come out under it. So these are a couple of tweets. Kate Solomon works for CSI, and she was tweeting out a link to a motivating YouTube video. Because I'm considered by some to be kind of motivational, she added the CSI Kraken hashtag to it. The Hager Company, we were tweeting out about ask me about firing up your chapter members, and she added the CSI Kraken hashtag to it. It's just a way to search for your information later and only see the things that happened under that hashtag. Usernames. I recommend if you get a Twitter account, make it easy. Make it as short as you can, and make it something to remember. I use my name for my username because I want people to remember my name. I've seen some crazy stuff. Don't use things like underscores. Those are difficult to get. You have to go into a different screen on the phone to type in an underscore. Keep it simple and keep it something that's memorable. I believe somebody in this room, I won't point fingers, started out when he opened his Twitter account with this crazy long name with a bunch of numbers and a bunch of letters, and might have gotten a tweet from me saying, you need to change that now, dude. Nobody will ever tweet you. If they can't remember your username, they won't tweet you. They may not know it right off the bat, but they'll eventually remember it and know what to type in to send you a message.
Oh, if you have like a somewhat common name and there's like 400 other people.
Then you have to do something to it to,
Can more than one person have the same name?
nope. Each Twitter name has to be unique.
That one's taken, that one's taken, that one's taken.
That doesn't happen too much. No, it doesn't happen, if your name's James Brown, maybe, you might have to add a number to the end of it. But it's not that difficult.
That's an awesome name, by the way.
James Brown, yeah.
Follow-up question, that was a good movie too, by the way. what are the arguments against using your own name versus fictitious name?
Well, I guess it depends on what you're going to be tweeting about. If you're going to be, and we'll talk about Twitter etiquette here in a minute, but if you're going to be tweeting about something controversial, and you don't want that to be associated with you professionally, or even just personally, then you probably want to set up a phony, or an account under a phony name. If you're a professional and you go do some things like that under an account you've set up professionally, you're likely to alienate potential clients and customers. I don't recommend. My attitude about Twitter is if you would not stand in the middle of this room and say it out loud in front of everybody in here, then you shouldn't be on Twitter saying it. That's my personal opinion. People set up fake accounts and they rant about all kinds of things, but that's not what I use it for. I'm using it to grow personally and professionally, and to share information and learn. That's what I'm using it for. People have different motives though. So this is an example of some of the usernames and how they got used. Charles Hendricks is an architect in Pennsylvania, the Gaines Group. His Twitter handle is @the Gaines Group. They always start with the @ sign. He posts every week what he calls a green term defined. He defines some terminology in green building on LinkedIn, and then he posts a tweet on Twitter to point people to his blog from LinkedIn and from Twitter. Lujval is an attorney, and he is a very, known to be a very, how do I say it nice, Ellen?
Huh?
He has no problem saying exactly what he thinks, no matter who you are. An amazingly intelligent man, fascinating to talk to, but he will tear you to shreds if you say something stupid. He apparently thought Charles was saying something stupid that day, because he told him that this is neither a definition nor helpful. Wonder if this kind of thing constitutes professional judgment. Kind of says it like it is. So Charles came back and said, help me, how would you define it? They're having a conversation back and forth. They're having that conversation. I don't know how I got wrapped up in there. Oh, I think it's because I retweeted Charles' green term defined it, so Lujval was calling us both to the carpet, basically saying you're both idiots. By having those usernames in there, we're having a conversation back and forth in 140 characters. So Lujval came back with a recommendation of a book to read. If you want to define it, learn what you're talking about, is what he's saying. I love his responses because he tears apart almost everything every week. That's all. Some more tweets. Bob Borson is another architect somewhere else. I forgot where. And he posted a picture of him doing some work on his roof and saying that Scotch probably would have made this a little bit more fun. Just because we're doing it professionally doesn't mean we don't have a little bit of a sense of humor and have a good time while we're doing it. This next one for me is hashtag construct, hashtag HO7. This was at the convention. The hashtag construct was for the convention. Hashtag HO7 was for the course I was sitting in at the time that I made that tweet. So you can actually go at the end of a convention and by the search terms of the course number, weed out all the tweets from all the courses you didn't attend and see what everybody else had to say about the classes you couldn't make because you had a conflict. So one way to, you may not see the whole presentation, but you can get a good idea from what people are tweeting back and forth in the comments. And Marvin Kemp, who was teaching that class, responded to me later. Some more example tweets. There's Smart Alex Shoe Guy there at the bottom again. This was for the class I did last week in Spokane. He's in Vermont, and he was tweeting out for people to follow my presentation in Spokane on architect-engineer coordination. The upper right, that's Paul Gerber from Canada. He's one of my out-of-the-country Twitter buddies. I met him on Twitter, ended up meeting him at the convention, and now he thinks he's my brother or something. These are all, Paul is an architect, Eric is a product rep, a couple of the other ones are architects. These are all professionals that we've made both professional and personal connections. We've not only exchanged technical information, but we've become friends. But there is some rules. They're not horrible rules, but there are rules. If you set up a Twitter account and I find you, and your picture looks like this, I'm going to come find you. If you have an egghead, that's the default picture that Twitter gives you if you don't upload a picture. People will ignore you. So if you get on Twitter and you have one of those and you can't understand why nobody's following you and nobody's responding to you and you're not connecting with anybody, it's because that's the first sign of a spammer. So if you're going to set up a profile on Twitter, set it up all the way. Make sure you upload a picture, preferably of your face, not of, you know, your San Francisco 49ers jacket or something like that. Although some people do that. Create a great bio. It's okay, this is way easier than LinkedIn. You have 160 characters to say what you need to say about yourself. Short and sweet. Think of it like an elevator speech. But make sure it's there because that's how people will choose to follow you. You cannot invite people to follow you on Twitter like you can on some other social media channels. What you can do is post something, and if I see what you posted and I think you look interesting and your bio looks interesting, then I can choose to follow you, but you can't ask me to follow you. So if you don't have a bio in there, lots of people don't have bios, and I refuse to follow because I have no idea who they are or what they're about. Even if it's 5 or 10 words about what you do. I'm a product rep, I like football, and I do flooring. You know, whatever, something enough to tell people what you do, that's how they're going to choose to follow you. Have a short, easy username that's easy to type and easy to remember. Remember the easy to type. A lot of characters, a lot of numbers, people aren't going to remember it. And if they have to, a lot of the Twitter use is done on phones. If they have to go back and forth between screens, you're going to become a pain and difficult to tweet about. You want to be easy. Tweet less than 140 characters when you tweet if you can. If you can say what you need to say in less than 140, when people decide to reply or retweet your tweet and add something to it, it leaves them a little room to do so. Like, great post, really smart dude, whatever. If I want to say something in response, if you don't leave a little room, there's nowhere for me to make a comment to my followers. You should read this great article. There's a direct message feature in Twitter. I recommend you don't use it unless you're talking to people you know, because it's used for a lot of spam and it irritates people. If I'm talking to Ellen, I'll direct message Ellen. She knows who I am. But if somebody else in this room I haven't met before, I would not direct message you because you don't know who I am, and you're probably going to think I'm somebody trying to sell you diet pills or something. Warn people if you're going to plan, if you're going to participate in something like a tweet chat, you're going to do a high volume of tweets in a short period of time. For instance, right now during this presentation, I have no idea how many tweets are going on out there right now, but it's a lot happening at once, and it can irritate your followers if you tweet 500 times in an hour. So warn them, let them know, hey, I'm doing a tweet chat, just put a tweet out there. And so I'm going to have a lot of tweets for you. They can turn you off if they want to. Use hashtags appropriately. People like to type an entire tweet in hashtags. Please don't do that. Use one or two that's pertinent to what you're trying to point to. They're very difficult to read when there's a ton of hashtags in there, and then it becomes difficult to know what to search for. The most important thing you can do on Twitter is engage. You need to talk to people. You cannot just tweet your products out and wait for magic things to happen. You need to give, if you do roofing and some architect posts something about a roofing problem, you need to engage. Have you thought about trying this? Even if you're engaging about a competitor, maybe it's not something you can fix, but your competitor can. You need to engage, give them some advice, have conversations back and forth. You become that trusted advisor, and you become a go-to person no matter where. It doesn't matter if this person is halfway across the country. And maybe it doesn't get, for the product reps here, it doesn't get you the sale, but it might get your company the sale. And you still may get credit for it with your boss. You need to share and promote others. I'll pick on Ellen again, because she's so cute. Ellen posts things from McGraw-Hill sometimes. I will retweet those out to all of my followers so that they will see them too. It's kind of being good buddies and helping each other out. Now, I don't tweet things I don't believe in or I don't think are interesting, but you do need to, hopefully you're following people you think are interesting and have good things to offer. You need to share that with the people who follow you and help get their message out there. And what happens is in turn they do that for you. And your reach gets further and further out. The more people they share with, the more potential you have for the people they know to share with other people in getting to that 62,000 number, which is not a big number, by the way. And like I said, they will respond in kind. Respond in a timely manner. Twitter is instant. You're not expected to be instant, but if you're tweeting me back 3 weeks after I tweeted you something, not likely I'm going to follow you for a while. You tweet me back the next day, within a couple days, that's fine. You know, people don't tweet every 2 minutes like I do. Some people just tweet a few times a day and still have very good results from it. You do not have to tweet constantly, but you do need to interact and you do need to respond to people that send you messages. Mind your manners. Back to that, Brian. It's not a place to talk about politics. Well, it is, if you choose to, but if you're using it professionally like I am, if you wouldn't have the conversation that at this table with the people you're sitting with right now, don't have it on Twitter. Keep your personal views, rant on Facebook if you want. You can rant on Twitter, but if you're using it professionally, you're likely going to lose some people in the process. Thank people often. I probably tweeted at least 15 thank yous to people today for sharing information that I shared with their followers or sending me some cute comment. They're not going to be getting thank yous after tonight. She's smiling. I know this is going to be good. But you need to thank people just like you would in person. It's building a relationship. That's the most important thing to remember with Twitter is you're just doing it online instead of face-to-face. So if you thank somebody in person for sharing your information with another professional, you should thank them online as well. Be social. Some fun stats. There's over 645 million active registered users on Twitter. That's a big number. Think about that. 135,000 signing up a day. This is as of July of this year, so this is not 10-year-old statistics. 190 million unique Twitter site visitors every month. Average tweets per day are 58 million. Don't let that freak you out. You're not going to see 50, that's what people think. I don't want to see all that garbage. You are only going to see the things from the people who you choose to follow. You have 58 million of them to choose from. So if you're wanting to follow a particular kind of people, you got 58 million people to search for to find those people to share that information.
So if I'm following you, if I'm tweeting and my tweet going to the people I'm following, do you have to follow me to see my tweets? Maybe I didn't say it correctly.
No, I know, I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to remember it. I see the tweets of everybody I follow. If you follow me, you're going to see my tweets. I am not going to see your tweets.
If you're not following
If I'm not following you. But what happens?
I'm following you.
Right, but see, here's what happens. When you follow me, I get a notification that says you have a new follower. And I can read your profile and decide whether to follow you back. And that's how most people choose to follow other people. After tonight, I will likely get 1 or 2 new followers, and I will follow them back because I will know they came from here tonight. And so we'll see each other's tweets.
One-sided love affair. You're following them, but they're not following you. If you communicate something to him, and he replied to you.
I don't believe, I can, yeah, if I communicate it directly to him, he can reply to it. You can actually see people's tweets without following them. They're called lists, and I'm not going to go into that right now, but there's a way to follow a person's list so you can see the tweets of everybody on that list without actually following those individual people. 2.1 billion search engine queries every day in Twitter. 43% of Twitter users tweet from their phone. That's really something to think about. People are living, eating, and breathing on their phones these days. Which means, for instance, I took my son to a site visit at Oregon State this summer, and they happen to be putting up one of the multicultural centers that our office is working on, and right then and there I stopped, I took a picture of it, and I tweeted it out. Interface is involved with this project that's starting to go up. And I tweeted out a picture of it right there on the spot. People are sharing information we just didn't have access to before. It was a good promotion for my company. My followers are all in this industry, so they all saw it. 60% of tweets come from a third party. 115 million active Twitter users a month. month. I think this is an interesting, really interesting statistic, because you can lurk if you want to lurk. 40% of Twitter users don't tweet. They go on, they sign up for an account, they follow all these people they're interested in, and all they do is read tweets, and they don't tweet back, and they don't interact. If you're just looking to get information, that's a good way to do it. Because it's quick and easy and short. You can decide in 140 characters whether you want to click that link to go read this article or go look at this drawing or whatever. But there's 40% of Twitter users are what we call lurkers. It takes 5 days for 1 billion tweets and 9,100 tweets every second. In 2012, Twitter averaged 100,000 posts per minute. 2013, it was 350,000 posts per minute. In 1 year, that's how quickly the method of communicating has grown. So final suggestions, get signed up and get started. You do not have to tweet a ton. You can tweet once or twice a day and connect it to the right people, provide real value. I'm talking a minute a day, and you can provide real value. Take a little bit of time to get the connections built with some people, but you connect to anybody here who follows me tonight. If you sign up for an account and you follow me, I will retweet you out to other people, and I will help you get started with getting some connections. But once you get those built, you do not have to spend a ton of time. That's the most important thing to understand. Follow people in your area of interest to avoid the garbage. Like I said, let me know when you sign up, and I'll encourage others to connect with you to get started. Spend some time when you first sign up scrolling through tweets just to see what they look like. See how people are putting their tweets together with the links and the hashtags and the usernames, and get familiar. That was one of the best pieces of advice that I was given when I got started. And remember, you grow slowly on Twitter because it's just like building friendships. Everybody in this room is not my friends just because we all happen to be in the same room tonight. You have to engage, find similar interests, and get involved. So I've been on for 18 months tweeting like a crazy woman, and I have, whatever that was, 1,800 followers. You know, Justin Bieber has 50 million. There's probably not a whole lot of value going on there. I will never get to that. I don't want to get to that. I want to keep my world in AEC, and I'm very particular about who I follow and who I want to connect with, because it's not about quantity, it's all about quality. So before I talk about LinkedIn, any questions? Because LinkedIn's a much shorter part of this presentation. We're going to do that very quickly.
What about security? I mean, we can't really do that stuff. We know that all these companies are tracking all this information. It's just being sold for their own ends. What do you have different opinion on that?
That's such a, I mean, you can't breathe right now without somebody tracking it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't think, even if you tried to be completely uninvolved with the internet, your information is out there whether you know it or not. I personally, some people are really uptight about that. Once again, don't put it out there if you don't want people to know. But even if you don't put it out there, the way that everything is electronic now, the way the stores are getting breached, you fill out a credit application somewhere that never, on paper, that never had anything to do with the internet, that information is somewhere online. It's almost scary what's out there. So I don't think there's anything protecting yourself from having your information out there, but I wouldn't go tweeting out super personal things that you don't want the whole planet to know, because once it's out there, it's out there. So you do need to be conscious of what you're putting out there and what kind of image you're projecting. But there is no security. But you can't send email with any security. You can't do anything online with any security, to be perfectly honest. Nobody's 100% secure. My IT guy tells me that all the time. Ellen?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anything that we should share? Do I want to call up the tweets?
Yeah, actually, I think you do, because when we were talking about the reach of Twitter, Eric did something about, and it's a huge amount that kind of scared me.
117 tweets on our meeting tonight since the shoe one I showed you. 117 new tweets. It's 117 tweets around the country from different people, both in this room and other CSI members sharing information about what we're talking about today.
But that's only if we remember the hashtag.
What?
That's only if we remember the hashtag.
And yeah, there's probably more than that because that means Ellen forgot to type in hashtag on some of them. So what am I looking at, Ellen?
Eric, I'm trying to find it. When you talked about the Twitter reach,
Mm-hmm. Congrats, folks in PDX. Tweets about PDX CSI have now reached 11,273 accounts and 78,862 impressions
yeah, that scared me.
since we started. That's just from the tweets in this room and a handful of connections I've made through CSI who, because they think Portland CSI is pretty darn cool because we're doing a lot of different things in this chapter. They're all kind of excited to watch what's Portland doing next because we're doing things nobody else is doing. And so they're out there sharing this information with other chapters, so hopefully other chapters will also grow in the same way. That's kind of an amazing statistic for the time that we have spent talking about this. So that's an example of, especially for you product reps in the room. I mean, there's value for any discipline here and different ways to get that value, but the product reps, the most, are the ones that just blow me away when they tell me they're not online. Is there anything else? I don't want to look at Joyce. I'm afraid of that.
Joy's behaving herself.
Is she? Well, I can't see all her tweets. She wasn't behaving before we started.
She just did one about make sure that it's a photo and that it's a professional photo and not, at the beach or.
She said if you post a picture of you with your cats, you're going to get a bunch of crazy cat people.
Which is true. And look, a tweet just came up from Colleen.
Yeah.
Sitting
I
right there.
did. That was my first tweet ever.
We're all practicing. We're trying.
Did I do it right? But so I put at Cherise Schacter and then it goes
That's
to
why
your-
it's not showing because you put my name.
Oh.
It went into my notifications rather than in the feed.
Oh, so
And
I
did you use the hashtag?
No.
No, I used
Okay,
the
yeah,
at.
it won't show up in this
So
list
it
I'm
has to
looking
be
at.
PDX CSI.
It'll show up in my feed, but right now I have it specifically searching just PDX CSI. So that's why it doesn't show. I got a little notification saying Colleen just tweeted.
That's
That's
my
why
first
I-
tweet ever.
Good job. Ellen, are there any other ones you want to point out, or you can just yell it out and I'll go back into the presentation? Well,
I got distracted.
You were talking about spam stuff with the eggs. If you do get like those egg people and spams, how do you get rid of them?
Well, okay, so you can, in your account, you can block people.
Okay.
Now, just because there's an egghead doesn't mean they're spam.
No, I'm
I'm
pretty sure
just-
this is spam. Trust me.
Yeah, then you can just click on their username. There's a little 3-dot thing next to it. Click on the username,
Okay.
pull down the menu and say block user.
But I have to do that when going into my account, not from my phone. Like dial into my account. on
Yeah,
my
you can do it.
computer.
You can do it from your phone too. Okay, so LinkedIn's only a few pages. We're going to do this quickly because my experience has been with the couple times I've done this that most people have a LinkedIn account. So how many people here have a LinkedIn account? Okay, I should ask that the reverse way. Is there anybody in this room that does not have a LinkedIn account? Okay, yeah, so we're going to move through this one quick. So LinkedIn, I look at Twitter as a way to connect and have I cannot see with these things on. Connect and build relationships with people. I look at LinkedIn as a way to make connections with other professionals. You may not necessarily be having the continuous back and forth conversations on LinkedIn that you would on Twitter, but you may be participating in things like discussion boards. I regularly go into discussion boards about topics and throw my 2 cents or 10 cents or whatever in on that particular topic, but it is not the interactive conversation, but it is another way to share professional information. And I kind of see the LinkedIn as the Facebook for professionals. And I have, I don't know, close to 2,000 connections around the world actually on LinkedIn.
What I'd like to find out is how many professionals have actually used LinkedIn to help them look for work.
Well,
They establish their networks on LinkedIn and then all of a sudden they're all working here. Go on LinkedIn and say, hey, what do we got out there? Go
I received a job offer in London
Yeah,
on
I see that
LinkedIn
numbers.
that I wasn't looking for.
I see that numbers go through all the time.
This wasn't a headhunter, this was an architectural firm looking for people with experience with specifications that contacted me through a messaging service, through the message feature on LinkedIn. People, and I know people connect professionally and then, oh my goodness, I just lost my job. Hey Chris, do you know anybody who's hiring? And they use that, I communicate with a lot of people via LinkedIn professionally. It's a great way to learn and share. If you haven't discovered the message boards, find ones that are of interest to you. I follow a number for CSI and architecture, and get involved. You can get amazing answers to questions very quickly that you may not know anybody in your personal circle that can answer that question, but you go post it on a message board and all of a sudden you have 400 architects across the country telling you what you're doing wrong. There's Pulse, which is news that's been curated to what you're interested in and who you follow. And it is what they like to call career insurance. You can't afford to be without it. It's your online resume. And that is the first place everybody's looking right now when it comes to looking for jobs and looking for people that fit. HR people are going online. I got another call about probably a year ago. They were looking for people who had experience using the SpecLink program to write specifications, that specific program. Got a call on the phone from a recruiter. We need somebody who uses SpecLink. They found me by searching for the word SpecLink on LinkedIn and narrowing it down to Portland results because they wanted somebody in this area. Really hope I could do this. So why use it? Build relationships, market your business, network with your colleagues, post or find a job. A lot of people think that LinkedIn is only for finding jobs, and that's a real misconception. I do more activities on the discussion boards and posting my blog on LinkedIn than I do anything. If I lose my job, I might be looking at using it for that. But there's a lot more involved in it than that. To what benefit? To learn, for one thing. To connect with other professionals that become your go-to people. To find new clients because you're sharing information that they need about your product and become a trusted advisor.
I know this is probably the wrong perception, but I would imagine a lot of my maybe older superiors up at corporate also think that you're on LinkedIn communicating and networking with people that you're on fun and happy now right now. You're not really working.
That's possible. They're probably not going to be in business very long, to be perfectly honest.
I find it really useful, especially when I have a huge territory that's like a third of the country and half of Canada, that if I'm doing like a lunch and learn and then following up, once I get the list of attendees, I'll send all of, say thanks for attending the lunch today. I'd like to add you to LinkedIn, and that's a way that I can connect and keep in front of, in terms of, daylighting in front of a broad network over a broad area.
Well, yeah, so if you have, just using round easy numbers, 500 clients over all of those states, and you've connected with them all on LinkedIn, and you post something in the posting box about something new about your product, it's getting fed to every one of those connections in that instant for them to choose or not choose to read. It's going to take you a lot longer than that to go call on all of those 500 clients face to face and share that new little piece of information. And I know a lot of you cover big territories. It's just crazy not to. And if your companies don't get it, I guarantee they're not going to be around for long. And it's a way to highlight your expertise, because even if you're not looking for a job, some amazing job might come looking for you. So I have 1,573 connections on LinkedIn. My potential reach on LinkedIn when I share something on LinkedIn is over 12 million people. If all of my 1,573 connections shared something I posted, and their connection shared it, and their connection shared it, keep going, my potential reach with those connections is over 12 million people. Of course, I'm not reaching all those people. But the potential, I've had a couple blogs that for whatever reason, that's one of them, were particularly more popular than other ones I've written. And they got shared a lot and went to all these new people. I got new connections out of it that thought I had something interesting to say. These all end up being potential employers, co-workers, clients, trusted advisors, people that can help you solve problems. So why do you need it? It's the world's largest professional network. It's the Facebook for working people, is what it is. So social networks like Facebook, things like games and photos, movies, music, relationship status, religious, political views, that stuff belongs on Facebook. That is a social network. A professional network is what LinkedIn is, and that's to establish and maintain business contacts. For you that have to cover big territories, that's huge. You can find them right there on your phone instantly, and information about their company and a lot of things you need. It's a way to get introduced to professionals, recommend colleagues, and check references. Most HR companies are checking your online activity before they're doing anything else. Conduct research, get industry news, find and post jobs, publish articles and blogs. The purpose is to present your professional rather than your personal image on LinkedIn. So keep that in mind. You can go personal or professional on Twitter, but for LinkedIn, it's all about being professional. So you don't want to confuse them. I will, if you contact me, I will send you a PDF of this presentation. There's a bunch of additional resources. I've found the links for you, how to set up your account, tips, starting on, and I'm not going into it, but after this slide is about 30 or 40 more slides that give you step-by-step instructions on how to set up your Twitter account and how to set up a LinkedIn account. Push this button, do this, do this, do this. I will send a PDF to this slideshow to anybody who wants it, so that you have those instructions at your fingertips and you can go right in and just start getting it set up. All of my contact information is here. She knows where to find me. And if you go online and search for #PDXCSI, you can also find me there. So any other questions?
So you go in within twitter.com and log in and then all this stuff.
Right. And in here, in this presentation, if I send you a PDF, it will take you step by step through all that stuff, so you don't have to figure out what all that stuff is.
And how do you control the amount of time you get sucked into doing all this stuff?
It's all about self-control, of which I have none, but most people
Me
do.
too, that's the problem.
Well, it depends on how many people you follow too.
Well,
Depending on what you do, you don't have to follow.
even browsing through my email takes a lot of time.
Well, Lee, you need extra help. I will give you come to my office.
I know, I've been to your
I
office
know.
and
You didn't listen. We already had one personal lesson.
You did your best, and your client was dense. Remains a dinosaur.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We can fix dinosaurs. Just call me. We'll work on it. I'll help you.
You have an uphill battle.
Any other questions? Concerns, comments? Smart aleck tweets?
How is this information getting out over the air right now? Are you being, live right now?
What's Jake
Well,
doing?
the tweets are going. The tweets are out there already.
Jake
The
is
tweets, are
recording.
they listening to you right now?
They can't hear me now.
Oh, they can't hear
They're getting written comments. Now,
you. Oh, Ellen.
you can turn the camera. You so cheated.
There's a few of us.
So cheated. So we are also videotaping all of our chapter meetings now, apparently. And so we are going to be putting the videos from our chapter meetings on, adding them to our YouTube channel that we just recently started, so that we can share some of the things we talk about here with other chapters across the country and hopefully help each other grow. But no, they can't hear me on Twitter. They're just seeing it be typed. Thank goodness.
And we're all typing.
Any other questions? Okay, so my last question then is, how many are going to go sign up and try out Twitter after they leave this meeting? Okay, that's not enough. So those of you that didn't raise your hand can't leave. Because I'm not done.
Some of us are here doing it right now. We're practicing.
Well, that's
So-
because you guys have to live
So,
it.
so how do you get on Twitter if your internet is down?
On your phone.
Use the
I
phone.
don't quite follow that.
You don't.
I don't complain against Comcast, but if Comcast doesn't want to
Then you
communicate,
don't.
then I'm dead.
Yeah, or you do it on your phone. I have a hotspot on my phone. I'm always on it.
Deader.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight.